Hello. Right, everything seems in order with the levels, I hope. Of course, I am in a bit of a hurry to get this content out whilst it's still fresh in my mind. But hello, my name is Matt, or Matthew. I don't really mind. And I'm British, Yam Yam, Wolverhampton region, Midlands. So yeah. No script or anything for this, but this is my first attempt at a video with my own commentary. And the video game I've chosen is one which, of course, is on my computer out of convenience, and one that I feel deserves a bit more light. Yeah, light. Well, yes, this is called IL-2 Sturmovik 1946, which is the final collection of the original IL-2 Sturmovik games by either 1C or Maddox, or both of those names. Obviously before things happened, and of course this was all before Gaijin Entertainment had begun making IL-2 branded names. Like, what was it, Birds of Prey, Wings of Prey, something like that. But yeah, this is like often considered the go-to number one of the series, despite the new ones coming out, such as Clips of Dover a couple of years ago, and recently, just out of development, I think, Battle of Stalingrad. And whilst those two are very respectable games, they don't seem to have got the same light as this one, which is relatively cheap now. I got mine a couple of years ago on Good Old Games, GOG, for about, at the time, about £4 or something, and I think it's a similar sort of price on Steam as well. Of course, the other ones have gone quite down in value as well. But this includes the original game, the Forgotten Battles expansion, the Pacific Fighters expansion, a couple of static campaigns, and then ultimately the 1946 expansion, or unless that's just the name of all the expansions together. I'm not sure, but anyway, this is quite. It's I'd say it's a large game. Well, I suppose it gives you a lot more to do than in the newer one, which focuses on the Battle of Stalingrad. Of course, in a lot more depth, but some people may not be necessarily interested in such depth of one battle. And this offers, well, at least the stock version offers a number of dynamic campaigns, which randomly generate missions based on what's supposed to happen in the campaigns, like where the front lines are going to be, what missions you'll do, and stuff. Of course, there's I'm using the vanilla campaign generators. I'm not running a vanilla game entirely. I'm using the SAS Ultra Pack 3.1, which you can find on SAS1946.com, which is like one of the go-to mods in order to enhance and add a bit of flavour, finishing touches to this game. The other one is Dark Blue World, which I really wanted to go for, because that is really that's the go-to single-player expansion mod, and this one is really more for multiplayer, but there is single-player elements as well. But I just couldn't get Dark Blue World to run on my computer. Not really sure why. I set it up right and everything, but in the end I just settled on getting Ultra Pack instead, because I do quite like the features. I'll go into a bit more detail, perhaps, or at least I hope I will, at some point. But yes, I will explain what's going on. Well, now, yes, I'll get to the point, shall I? So yes, this is my first walkthrough. As I said in an introductory video that I'm not sure if I've posted yet. I don't think I have, but I'll make sure I do that. I'm planning on starting off my channel with two, I suppose could be quite long playthroughs, depending on how successful I am, because I will admit I wouldn't call it a walkthrough, because I'm not very good. Well, I'm good enough, you know. I've done some of the campaigns before. I haven't finished them just because I've just eventually just lost interest in them and not really had much point to go back to them. But hopefully now that I'm doing it with some commentary, I don't have to keep talking to myself in my head as I play these games on my own, in my room, or just in my house on my own somewhere. I've got someone to share it with, which hopefully should make it a bit more enjoyable for me. I'll be able to express myself a bit more, and it will give me a goal to achieve. I think I explained the purposes of me starting this channel in that introductory video, which I'll make sure I'll get round to doing, unless I already haven't. Yeah, I haven't. This is all like a last-minute decision. But anyway, we're going to go for the Sturmovik campaign. Yes, I remember in my introductory video I was going to start off with two big campaigns, dynamic campaigns, which were a German one and a Soviet one. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do them concurrent, or I'm going to do one first, do the Soviet one first, and then the German one. It depends on how I feel, really, to be honest, and depending on whether people would want me to do it that way, whether they want me to get through one quickly so they can see the progression, or they want to have a bit of a choice. I'll see. But yeah, I'm going to do a Sturmovik one because although I generally play fighters, I'm not necessarily a fighter pilot. I would think I was a bomber pilot, but then bomber pilots, it's quite boring and it's quite difficult, to be honest, because the bomb site is quite a handful and there's just not much to do. And also I think they tend to lag a bit on that one. But yeah, so that's why I chose to do a Sturmovik campaign, because it's I played one before to quite a fair bit, at least halfway through some of the campaigns. At least it starts at 1941, then it goes to 1943. I think I stopped at, but and I did it with quite successful, not having to restart as many times. Oh yeah, by the way, this isn't an Iron Man playthrough because of my skill, and generally I want to show you what's going to happen with the flavour of the campaigns, like the descriptions of the missions of the campaigns, what the front lines will look like, and whether they follow the real historical facts that happened in the war. And then I might even try and bring in a little bit of factual information as I advance through these campaigns, eventually obviously culminating in the end of the campaigns, which I think most of them end in 1945, either at Berlin or in the main areas of final opposition before the surrender. But yes, okay. So I'm going to start off in this video with a Sturmovik campaign. I was tied on doing either the normal one, which is sort of centred on the general Eastern Front, so where like the initial invasion of Barbarossa at Lvov and Smolensk in like Ukraine, Polish, Russian region just below Belarus, or the Leningrad front, which I've not done yet, which is generally just the entire Leningrad front until I think 1944, 1945. I'll have a look in a minute. So yeah, I'm going to do one of those, and then of course my German one would be the one that I like the most and that I've practiced on several times, which would be the Armour Group South, which is obviously the Ukraine and Caucasus Mountains area, eventually culminating in Berlin. So yes, I'll move the mouse just to show that this isn't a post commentary or a screenshot with some music on it. Right, we won't be Ben right over. We will be Vitaly Petrovsky. Yeah, will be him. Nickname. Nicknames don't really show up on the in the game. They're just there on the title screen. But okay, let's go for. I should have thought of this before I started. I don't know any Russian nicknames. Fritz. There we go. He's got a German nickname. How about that? Right. So yeah. So he's of questionable background for that nickname. Right, and there we go. And so here we go. Now in in the SAS Ultra Pack mod, this has changed what this looks like. You know, normally it would say Germany, so Luftwaffe, and some other ones, I think. But yes, so these are all. I'm not planning to do all of these because not all of these dynamic campaigns are very long or very flavoursome. It's mainly the Japanese, the Americans, the Germans, and the Russians, and I suppose Finland as well. Yeah, I suppose Finland to an extent. But the others are very small dynamic campaigns. Right, so here we are. So here we are. We've got several ones here. Oh, music changed. Right, so these ones here, the ones with the asterisks are dynamic campaigns. So you see, you've got the fighter on the Leningrad front, the fighter generally on the Eastern Front. That's not a very long one. It was fun, but it wasn't very long. These are static campaigns that people have generated, either from the studios or mod developers. Pardon me. But yeah, I'm not really too keen on the static campaigns because I feel that there's not much. Although there is a story, it's not really the kind of story that I expect. I like a sort of RPG, open worldy kind of story where it's kind of up to me. Well, at least with this game, anyway. I mean, I prefer open world stuff anyway, where I decide the story. But I find that these dynamic campaigns, they're good. They're good enough, I think. Yeah. It's not really a good compliment. It's not a great compliment, is it, to the games? But yes, yeah, what was it? Yeah, this one, IL-2 pilot on the Leningrad front. So there you go. If you're wondering what the IL-2 is, it's a well, this game started out just as you've been able to pilot that aircraft. It was the Ilyushin IL-2. It was a ground attack aircraft. And they often consider it like a flying tank because it could carry bombs, rockets, it had cannon rounds. It was very well armoured, had a gunner on it, and it could dogfight to an extent without any of the other armament. Right, I'm just going to flick that off just in case because I don't have any keys assigned to that. I'm going to leave that the same. Going to turn these off just so that I can look around in case so I don't bore people. Leave that on just because sometimes I don't understand the other languages markings on the instruments. I'm going to leave this on, otherwise it's just going to be a pain. And those should be okay as well. So yeah, here we go. Now, alright, I'm taking far too long here. But yeah, basically the Ilyushin IL-2 is a ground attack aircraft. Basically, my role is sort of a compromise, really. So, I'm not really a fighter, but I'm not really a dedicated bomber either. Right. So, my main role is to like attack ground vehicles and air bases, if at all possible. They're quite well armoured, and they should be. Up to the Tusk. I don't want to live in Turku. If you wonder where that is, that's the former capital of Finland. I was debating whether to start with a Finnish campaign earlier, but no. I think the Scandinavian word for that is Abo, something like that. But yes, no, we want to be from Russian, aren't we? So we'll be from Murmansk, just because that's the one I can spell without offending anybody. So yeah, this one only goes up to 1944, which should be okay. Can't remember how long this one is. Yeah, we'll be born in 1920, so that we'll be of the correct age by the time, because we want to be sort of a junior pilot at this point. So we'll start off with the standard IL-2s, which I don't think these ones had gunners. These ones didn't have a rear gunner, so they had a smaller cockpit. But they still have the same armaments and stuff. But actually, I think the field modifications might have added those on, or at least one of these ones does. But we'll have these at the ready. Then, yeah. So I like to tend to be up to date with the most newest aircraft rather than flying old-fashioned aircraft where possible. So you see here, I would switch. Normally the natural progression would be to go to the IL-2M, which is a dedicated one with a rear gunner and a bit more armour and more powerful engine, I think. But I'll go for that one, because I think that means the same. Right, and for some reason here you can switch to a P-47 Thunderbolt. I'm not really sure why you would do that if you're a Sturmovik pilot, but naturally we'll switch to the 3M, because that's the next evolution. These don't really matter, to be honest. They do affect where you'll be based on the campaign maps in relative to the other ones, but I'll just pick one random. There we go. 688, the industrial estate of the beasts. Well, so obviously we'll start from the start. But yeah, so yeah, I think this is all everything. And okay, let's have a look what the first mission is going to be. Right, so here's the campaign map. It's the Leningrad front, which is now St. Petersburg. So as you see here, the red is the Soviets, the blue is the Finnish and the Germans. The Finnish aren't Nazis, by the way. They're just allies. They do have swastikas on their airplanes. I can't remember the real reason behind that, but it's just they aren't Nazis. Right. So as you see here, I think these used to belong to Finland, or some of these did. This is East Karelia, of course, and obviously Murmansk is further up towards the Arctic Ocean, where we come from. And right. So generally, this is called the Continuation War in Finland. There was a war briefly. I think either before or when Germany invaded Poland in 1939, called the Winter War, which was to do with this territory here by St. Petersburg, Leningrad at this point, and Finland took them, I think, or the USSR did. I can't remember. Obviously, today the borders, I think, stand like somewhere around here. Maybe they think, or they might be even here the present day. But yeah. Right, so Lake Ladoska, I think it says it in that description. I'll read that description in a minute, unless you already have. So here we go. So as you see, the Germans are coming through here. Operation Barbarossa, I don't think they've started. It started, yes. Has it? I can't remember when it does. Oh yeah, it has, yes. It's June or July, isn't it? 1941. So yeah, the Germans are advancing through. At this point, preceding this point, Germany was invading Poland and was helping the Soviet Union invade the Baltics, which is Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and some of the Eastern Front, the other parts of the Eastern Front. But obviously at this point, Germany had planned to invade the Soviet Union, and this is the most northerly point of the Eastern Front of World War II at Leningrad, one of the major battles of the war. Quite heavy losses, I think, as well. But okay, so the Germans coming in through here. Estonia is going to fall; it hasn't got a chance. It's going to join up, and yeah, and they're also advancing through here as well. Right, and the Finnish, I think, will be will occupy this area as well. You know, because like Finland's so OP. Right then, let's read this. A few days ago, the German forces have attacked the Soviet Union. So far, the Germans are advancing into the Lithuanian Soviet satellite region, Republic, yeah. And it is very likely that the final goal of the northern thrust is Leningrad, but the situation is even worse. The rulers of Finland are known to seek a revision of the 1940 peace treaty. A Finnish attack is very likely, and preparations have to be made for a two-front war at the Leningrad front. Leningrad BVO, Baltic Fleet WVVS, or WS VVS looks like, and the Northern Front VVS will have to defend Leningrad and the front, while the DBA execute preemptive strikes against Finnish military and political targets. we are assigned to the first Doodah, commanded by Pockety Patron. Right, and it's August 6th. So, yes, Operation Barbarossa has been going on for some time. Right. Okay, sorry about that. I'm a bit overcautious with my recordings. I just want to make sure I get a bit of content down so that in case of anything happens, I'll get an interruption whilst I'm recording, or if I get a crash and then I lose it all. So yeah, I'm a bit overcautious because, like I said, it's my first time, so sorry about that. But anyway, where are we? Alright then, so we're going to do this mission. So yeah, like this IL-2 is designed for, a ground attack aircraft. We're going to be attacking an airfield just over here to Severskaya. I'm not too fond of. No, I'm not very good at Russian like Cyrillic words. So yeah, there's an air base there, just outside these major like towns. I suppose these are towns, and then these are cities because they're capitals. Yes. Right. Just double checking. Right, there doesn't be anything there. I'm sure there's stuff there because there's all these roads. But anyway, let's get. Or I suppose let's have a look at the aircraft. So we've got. They're rockets and those are bombs. I've got to make sure I got the right keep binds. So let's have a look at this aircraft. Right, yes. So this is what it looks like. The Ilyushin IL-2. I imagine this would be a 3 series or one of the ones, because that's the last one before this brief modification, a rather dangerous one. I mean, look at that. They've just literally cut a hole in the fuselage and put a seat in it. Of course, later models would revise this design, and of course the armament underneath is. I think there's a bomb bay doors. I think. Because sometimes they're on the outside, depending how big the bombs are. You can see here. And then these are rockets that I like. They fire off 2 at a time. Right. I'm going to leave everything default, I think. Convergence, I think, is alright. I can't use I don't think I've got bombs on the way. Let's just check my my PS3 controller. It's like, I would have a joystick, but I just feel I'm not fully invested in this kind of gaming, since I'm playing it off a dual core notebook rather than a quad core i5 GTX 980 rig. Not that there's a problem with that, but yeah, I'm kind of casual when it comes to PC. But this will do. It's a bit sensitive because there's no real weight. You can't feel the weight of the hydraulics of the aircraft in an analog PS3 joystick. So I apologise if I seem to be making a bit jerky movements, but I swear they're a lot less jerky than playing this with mouse and keyboard. But anyway, let's get on before I ramble. Right then. We'll look at the roster later. Let's just fly. Right then. Now, yeah, because of it having to load and then dump me into the game, I see. I have a feeling that you'll see the outlines of the box, because I don't run this full screen. I run this in a 800 by 600 window, because I like to see my desktop, and also I can see my the clock and the time on my recording software and the levels. Well, I can see them anyway because I'm using a mixing desk with a microphone, and it seems to be okay. Of course, people will be able to tell me. Right, here we are in my Ilyushin. There we go. That's I've got it gun sight view. There we are. A bit of a blind spot there, but that's a nice armour plate. So let's just take a look outside, shall we? Right, I'm going to have to go a little bit further away from the microphone because it's offset, you see. So there we go. So see a bit of a shine to it because of the Ultra Pack mod. Slightly different sounds as well, and plus the camera's a bit it's like flowy. But anyway, let's get on here. So what we got? So there, So there's the compass underneath the gun sight. I think that's a speedometer. There's the vertical speed indicator. There's the artificial horizon underneath that. There's the engine temperature, or oil temperature. Alright, can I open the can? No, I can't. But anyway, let's get on here. I don't know why it starts you off with the magneto's already up, which I suppose is alright. Anyway, I'm just going to start up the engine. Let's just have a look. Oh, I better hurry up. Rambling here. But yeah, it's nice. This adds new. The mod adds new sounds, slightly different appearance as well. Just general awesomeness, really. Right, and of course we need to take off flaps to generate more lift. I'm not sure of the wind direction. Yeah, those are the trims. I think this has aileron trim, or I bloody hope so, because without it, it's a bit of a hassle to try and stay level. The rudder trim doesn't really do the job. Right then, okay, I think that's safe enough. So I'm going to throttle up, mash the triangle button on my controller. Oh dear, that's a lot of torque there. Perhaps I should have trimmed the rudder. Right, when are we going in a straight line? Okay, now we lock the tail wheel because that's for landing, so that we don't end up veering off. Okay, so the nose is up. I'll say about 150, 160 kilometers an hour is takeoff speed. It is in a 109, I think. Right, we've got positive rate, as you can see there on the vertical speed indicator. Start to raise the flaps. Now you've got to make sure you trim upwards. I've got it assigned to the D-pad on the PlayStation 3 controller because I find it's easier. It's quite an important control. So having it just on home and end on the keyboard is a bit dodgy. And of course, raise the rest of the flaps. It seems that we're flying quite low because we're a ground attack aircraft. We don't need to go up to about 5,000 feet or 2,000 meters. Alright. Right. Got too much positive. Is that positive or negative trim? I don't know. But anyway, let's just get a map. Right. Okay, so yeah, you see here we've got to fly a little pattern just to get into a formation. And there's a door right next to me. Right. So is there anybody else? See, yeah, there's some fighters here, or probably some other Illusions. And we're going here, so hopefully we've got a fighter escort. I really hope so, because I don't really want to get shot down, captured, or die on my first mission. Right, I'm going a bit too fast. So we'll throttle down to a cruise altitude. I have my own sort of designed cruise altitude, which, well, not cruise altitude, I mean a cruising checklist, which is to bring down the propeller RPM so that you're not overworking the propeller and stressing the engine. Bring down the throttle a little bit, not too much, because you're using the RPM to save the engine instead. As you see here now, I'm catching up. Catching up to my homies, my wingmen, because obviously they've set it on a lower cruising settings. Right, so yeah, 80 RPM. Mixture is fine. It's only really till you get to about 3,000 feet or 5,000 feet you have to start leaning it, otherwise, because as the air gets thinner, you need to have air and fuel in your mixture. But okay. And so yeah, so I normally manually take off and land. That's the most interesting parts. And then sometimes, depending on the distance, oh dear, depending on the distance. Oh dear, sorry about this. I'm cocking this up. I'm going to be in trouble with my commander. In fact, actually, I'll just switch it to the autopilot. I'm going to wimp out, because you see, yeah, like this is going to be a fairly long. Oh, did I leave the flaps? Oh no, I think. So you see, it's going to be a fairly long pattern. I can't remember if we patrolled this a load of times or not. It's going to take some time here. So, yes. So I switched to autopilot on and then just used the skip feature, which, you know, I press it here. It you see there, it skips the time, goes quite quick, and then when we reach the next waypoint, it'll drop me back in the game. You see there like that, and it's still in autopilot. I'm not able to move. Yeah, it'll skip to these waypoints, which is quite handy if you're like having to repeat a mission over and over again. You really don't want to have to spend time flying, trimming, staying on course, which some people enjoy, and I do enjoy from time to time, especially if it's not very long or if it's my first time doing the mission. But just for convenience and to save time, I'll use the autopilot for now. Also, you can do time compression. Yeah, see here. I fly sometimes with the time compression on, just as my way of skipping while still being able to fly, because otherwise I'll be here for too long. Because as much as I do like flight simulators, even I get a bit impatient of doing the same thing over and over again, because this is a lot of what these campaigns are. It's taking off, getting in formation by doing a little patrol around the field, and then flying in formation at a certain speed, or escorting a really slow, sluggish bomber formation. Your flight leader's constantly weaving left and right, doing patterns around it, until eventually you reach the target. And so, yeah, I tend to skip or look around whilst I wait. So, yeah, I suppose. So let's just see how fast it goes here, because depending on how many planes and objects there are, depends on how much lag you get. Like, especially with the Pacific Fighters expansion, because of the detail, like the amount of planes, the ships, the water, and all that, and the size of the maps as well, they're huge. It does tend to lag out a bit, and even makes time skipping quite a faff. But yeah, actually I might not, if I've got nothing left to say, I might not actually need to click the skip button and skip to that waypoint where those other red aircraft are by over here. Yeah, see. So yeah, flying quite low. I imagine we're doing several waves. Right. So we're attacking the airfields, which I'm a bit nervous about because they can target you. I'm quite relieved that there's no aircraft, any 109s. Yeah, any 109s. Yeah, sorry, the radio. I'm not really sure. How loud the radio is. So I'm just gonna let them play out. Alright, in fact, yeah, I'll just skip. Alright then. So yeah, I'm alright with these missions if there's no enemy fighters and I've got no escort. Generally, because then what I'll generally do, I'll contact ground control, request some assistance immediately when the mission starts, and then as soon as we take off, they'll send some like I-16s or some Yaks. Right. So yeah, it looked like they were fellow Sturmoviks. We might be able to see them on their way back. Oh no, they're PE-3s. They're like a slightly heavier type of bomber. They're a proper bomber, they are. Heavier than the P-2 Peshka. But yeah, we're coming in now. You see, normally this gives me a bit of a disadvantage because I'm able to see exactly where things are, where they are, and where I'm going, and where I need to be. Some people prefer to not have that on, just to make it a bit more of a challenge, more thrilling, more tense. And of course, actually, that's really kind of the point why you would want to play a game like this, because of the challenge, because it is a simulator. But yeah, normally I wouldn't know these are there. But generally what I do is I tend to ignore them until I'm told about them through the radio, either by my flight leader or somebody else, and then I'll pretend then I know about it. Or if I'm really looking for targets, I'll pretend that we heard about them through reconnaissance and we've expected them to be there, you know, contact reports, you know. Okay, so it does seem like there's no planes parked. Well, there'll be parked planes, but there's no planes waiting to take off to whoop me in the arse. So yeah, let me just skip ahead a little bit. Well, I mean, time compress a little bit. Then, oh dear, I seem to have slowed down. I suppose I'm the last in the formation, aren't I? Right, we're coming up on the airfield now, so I'm going to disengage. autopilots, I generally know the direction of the airfield. In fact, we could have a look here. There it is. I think my bombs were on the L1. I don't really want them to be there, but I'll have to change that later. And my rockets are on the PlayStation guide button thing. Right, now we're in combat now. So I don't necessarily need to bring the throttle down, but the RPM up so that we get the maximum amount of thrust, I suppose. Oh dear. Right then, let's rock and roll. I apologise if I'm really quiet. It's just that I don't really want to mess this up. Right, I'm going to go for this guy on the ground. That's it. Oh dear. Not very successful. Oh dear. Oh, already my cannon's been jammed. So yeah, not a great start. Oh, only one of them's been jammed. Right then, I don't have track IR, so I'm going to have to use the mouse as a pivot, as an axis, which is all right. It's just because I generally oh dear, I really need to take out those anti-aircraft guns. Right, hope he didn't shoot me in the face and kill me. Oh, the rockets. Oh dear. No, don't really want to take on the 88mm guns. Oh, I've never heard that before. That look out, stop that, oh no. Did one of my people crash? Oh no, it didn't. Why are they only shooting at me? That's not fair. But anyway, I'm a rookie pilot, so it's understandable that I've done some damage, I suppose. I just haven't destroyed anything. Alright. Okay, now they've switched priorities. Just gotta watch my speed. See, normally with the track I'll just be able to quickly just glance at my speedometer in the cockpit, but it's too much of a faff with the mouse. Right, okay. Oh dear, see my engine overheating. Forgot about my radiation. I generally leave it open because there's a little point in having it closed. Oh, is that? Oh no, it's not. Oh, the bombs. I don't think I've done that right. Right, ever close me bomb bay doors? I can't remember. Doesn't matter, I'll look it up later. Doesn't cause any drag. Alright, they've stopped focusing on me. So I'm a bit lighter now, so I can mainly use my cannons and my machine guns. But yeah, so yeah, I'm not aiming to show off my flight mastery. Oh dear, this is a bad idea. I'm just mainly just showing you a progression through the campaign, whether I'm great at it or not. Oh dear. Well yeah, that's both of my cannons jammed now. And I've got my machine guns, but that's probably not going to do much damage. I really need to take out those guns. Right. I'm surprised that my rear gunner isn't having a go. Normally if I'm at the right angle, he tends to try and have a strafe whilst I'm pulling out of a dive, or of an attack run. Right, is there anything else? Right, those green ones are cannon rounds, I think. And there's a plane there. Build it. Yeah, normally I tend to cheat a bit and slow down to half speed to give you some time to manoeuvre, but it wouldn't be fair of me to do that now, because that would be cheating a bit there. So I've got to be a bit realistic about this. Right, okay, coming back round again. I'm going to have another shot at that plane, just so I've got something. You know, playing ground kills don't count towards the 5 you need to become an ace. It's air kills that count. But I'm not aiming to be for air kills. Let's just get the... Ooh. Oh dear, well off there. Like I said, my PS3 controller makes it quite difficult. Right. Right. Coming around from the past now. It seems that those other guns are a bit sidetracked. Or no, I can see their tracers. Oh, they're shooting at me. No. Alright then. I've not really got any weapons for this attack because I've cocked it up. I cocked it up hard. I cracked under the pressure. Oh dear, they're firing at me. Yay! Finally. Now, I better not bloody get shot down. Oh, mission accomplished. Well, I suppose we've killed the majority of the targets. So there we go, I've got something. There we go, I can be proud of that. You know, it's going to be a long war. I'm not aiming to like kill a million things, I've just got to survive, haven't I? Right. I think even though it's mission accomplished, they'll still carry on attacking it anyway. Oh dear, I better get out of the way. So, throttle up, RPM, close the radiator. Climb, I suppose, could do a bit of climbing. Just for the safe side, because we're quite low. I think we're only about 500 feet. Let's see. Okay, we'll leave the... Oh dear, I heard a plane then. Not going very fast at all, are we? So, RPM's up. Bring the throttle down. Right, okay. Where do we go? Well, I know generally we've got to go in a northeasterly direction, so I'll follow the river. There we go. Not really following the waypoints, but I don't want to be waiting around forever trying to land, you see. Right, okay. Now, do I have aileron trim? No, I don't. It's a shame. But the speed we're going at, we can lower the RPM now because we're not in combat, so we can save the engine. You still go. You don't necessarily slow down. It sounds like you're slowing down because the RPMs aren't as quick. But it's we're still getting the same amount of fuel going into the engine, so the same amount of combustion and power being produced. Well, at least I think so anyway. I don't know the aeronautics. Right, so okay, so we'll generally fly in this sort of direction. In fact, I don't trust that the autopilot will take me back home. So I'm gonna have to I'll time compress, and I'll just have to wrestle with the trim. I've got rudder trim. Is that doing anything? Not really. Oh, hang on a minute. No, is it? Is it making it worse? That's making it bloody worse. Right then. But now it's time to whittle around, and then want vector. There we go. So we'll generally just follow a heading of 40 degrees. 40 degrees. I'll look it up in a little bit. In fact, actually what I'll do is, oh dear, I've just noticed the damage to my cockpit. I've noticed the bullet holes in the glass, but my artificial horizon is barely usable. My speed indicator is non-functional. That dial is not working either. Bullet holes are there? Everything else is fine. See, it's a very tough aircraft. Despite these are very armor-piercing holes, they're very tough against machine guns at the very least. I mean, they can withstand. I mean, those are probably 88mm anti-aircraft guns with those blue tracers. Not that they were blue in real life, just that that's how they identify them in the game. But yeah, those are monster guns. That's why they put them on the tanks. Right. So it's like... Right, I'm not going to be able to beat them back. I'm sorry if the radio seem a bit loud. I haven't really got the opportunity at this point to adjust that. I'm gonna, next time I edit, either if I can edit this video, or next time I do a recording, I'll look into it, try and get it out of the way. Right, I think we're following the wrong one, are we? Oh, I suppose no, it doesn't really matter. It's just a general guideline. So here we are. My waypoint's not going to update because I'm not following the general pattern the autopilot would. But yeah, let's get in there. Not necessarily fast aircraft because, you know, it's a big sluggish bomber. Well, no, I mean a ground attack aircraft. Not a fighter bomber, just a ground attack aircraft. Alright, so we're landing in that direction. Hopefully, because they'll enter and then they'll go into the traffic pattern. Yes, I know. It's very hard to stay up with the AI because they know exactly, like, mathematically, how to throttle the engine and stuff. Right then, so it's right. So it's there somewhere. There it is. Right, I'm going to ask for permission to land. Landing. Okay. Right, so like real aircraft, full RPM and mixture. I didn't change the mixture. Slow down. I suppose we could idle the throttle just while we descend. We're a bit high, aren't we? It's quite nice landing this one because you get quite a good view. It's a tail dragger aircraft, in that it sticks up because it hasn't got a landing gear at the front. It has it at the back. But it's not too much of a hassle. Right, we trim the nose up a little bit. So we'll slow down. As you see. Then around 250 kilometers an hour. Start lowering the flaps. It will create drag and also a bit of lift. So that we stall at a slower speed. Then a bit more. Bring the gear down to really get the drag down. Oh. My gear's not working. Oh dear. Well, looks like we're going to have to do a really dramatic landing. Unless my gear's still down. But yeah. I suppose I better do a crash landing off the runway. Okay. No, never mind. Oh dear. Well, I'm sorry about that. You know, nice shiny propeller all smashed up. My first aircraft, you know, I mean, not exactly a rich country, the Soviet Union at this point. But I suppose, yep. Well, I suppose, yeah, we can retract the flaps. What does F do? No, nothing. D doesn't do anything. Yeah. So let's just have a look. Did I? Oh my life. My rudder was shot, although I could still use it. My gunner is still alive, so that's something. But, no, relatively successful mission. I'm not sure if they're still able to land. The computer doesn't necessarily try and land higher up on this runway. It's a massive runway, far more than it needs, than these aircraft need. But yes, I suppose. I'm not worried about explosions or anything. It's not on fire. But there you go. Yep, that was my first mission. It's not massive success. In fact, yeah, those are just the rails for the rockets. I didn't think I didn't have any ammunition left. So yeah, I think I must have got damaged gear or something. I can't remember the messages. So is anybody coming into land yet? No, not yet. Right then. Overall, success. Safe landing. Any landing you can walk away from is a good one. And I managed to do some damage. I either managed to harass the guns and that other aircraft and actually destroy a fighter. You know, I'm not very good with bombs in this because the bomb site, generally for diving, and there's no real bomb site for these aircraft. But anyway, let's end that. Ah, here we go. Oh no, is that a lieutenant, I suppose, of some sort? Who has been killed? Where would that happen? Was he shot down? That's how did he get shot down? Oh yeah, he must have got shot down by those AAAs. We lost 2 planes. Oh, that's mine, isn't it? Good work, Commander is pleased. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I did some damage. You know, I'm still alive. I'm not like the 20 minuters in Blackadder. brought the aircraft back in a usable condition, and we harassed that airfield. There's that aircraft I've destroyed. Harassed that airfield, so hopefully we'll stall them for now. And yes, I will call it a video here. Thank you very much. This has been my first video, and it's been moderately successful, if I must say so myself. No interruptions, other than that cautionary pause that I did to try and save some footage. But thank you very much for sticking with me, if you have. And hopefully I will see you again with the next mission.